That, ladies and gentlemen, is why I will always be polite to Miss Dawn Olivieri. Please put your hands together and help me welcome Miss Dawn to the platform tonight.
Smart. That was smart. Well, coincidentally, I'm not really like that in real life unless we're talking about horses. And I know a lot of you have kind of maybe heard Bobby talk about it a little bit, and myself included. I heard Bobby talking about it a little bit, and I thought, well, boy, this guy could be loud, right? So I was like, I could really use a loud mouthpiece like Bobby. So I reached out to Bobby. I simply used what we all use these days, and I DM'd him on Instagram, and he was right away. He was like, hey, let's talk tomorrow, right now, yesterday. I was like, okay, hold on, Bobby. Let me just figure it out. So we started talking, and I said, you know, I really appreciate what you're doing for these horses, and you're one of the first, if the only politician I've even heard stand up and speak about wild horses. And if you're interested, I will use all my resources to support what you're doing. And he was like, yeah, that's great, like, come in person. I got this event, like, I'm gonna have you talk, and he had all these ideas, and I love his energy and his fervor and his authenticity, truly. As you see, I'm an actress, right? I'm not political. I've never voted in my entire life, as proof. Yeah, I'm one of those. Exactly. And I never used to share that because I was really ashamed by it. But I think now we've entered into this era where I am like, fuck it, I've never voted. There's a reason, right? I have a lie detector that I come with that's so sharp. I'm like, I can't believe any of these people. You know? But I think that there's more of me. There's actually a lot of me out there because I've talked to them. And now because I've said I never voted, they're going like, oh, we can say that now? Okay, me too. I'm like, be louder. Be louder because I think it says something. I think it says something when there's a whole swath of people that are not engaged in changing policy, right? They're not taking action. And I think that's a whole swath of people that now when you stand up and you say, it's okay to just be authentic. Be yourself. If you haven't known what to do yet, like me, you can stand up and you can just be honest and it's okay, you're safe. And that's kind of been, that's my thing. I'm honest, I'm authentic, I'm an authentic person. I left LA because I wanted to talk to God and I wanted to get as close to Him as I could. And it brought me to this wild land in Arkansas up against millions and millions of national forest acreage. And when I got there, I was like, I'm here, talk to me, tell me what I'm supposed to do. He's like, you gotta get a shit ton of horses. And I was like, wow, okay, what do we do with that? And I essentially went to go rescue 2 horses, and I came home after 72 hours with 29. Thank you for all the claps, but it was a really dumb idea because you're not thinking it through, right? How are you gonna feed all these horses? How are you gonna manage this? You don't even have a charity, how are you getting help? I was living hay bale by hay bale, and it was atrociously anxiety-riddling, okay? And I did this for a few months, but there's 2 types of people in the world. It's people that bend against adversity or people that stand up and get stronger. And if you learn anything from those visuals that you just watched, I'm the second kind of person. Anyway, it's a loud laugh from Bobby, he knows firsthand for sure. So that's kind of our backstory, and that's why I'm standing in front of you here. I am as much of an expert as one can be after rescuing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of horses now. It's been 2 years since I started that rescue. And we have placed over 500 horses into homes, and some of these horses are wild horses, which is very hard. And what I saw from doing all of that was it wasn't sustainable. I would kill myself doing that work on the front lines. And so when I started to realize I have to do more, I thought, well, how can I share this? How can I share what's happening with people that don't know anything about it? So I'm starting with a video that is just going to give you a little intro into how I spend my days on the front line rescuing these horses, because I need to catch you up to speed and I need to get all the info in this very short amount of time that Bobby's giving me, even though he's thinking, gosh, this really does take a long time telling him about these horses, but once I'm up here, he can't get me off. So, go ahead, we'll do this. Let's.
I think as I was playing this
It's equal playing it when they want it.
I think it's very bucolic, the idea of having horses and the lifestyle and how beautiful it is, right? You always see images of horses and they're running across a pasture or they're brushing them and everything is great and they look amazing. And then there's this other world.
Horse meat. We are one of the top 10 producers worldwide, and there are growing concerns about a part of the industry that some say is inhumane.
This is the Bowie, Texas livestock auction. It's the biggest livestock auction in the country, in Texas. And when horses come here from all over the nation, they are brought into these chutes and then presented on stage. And there's a very small group of people, mostly comprised of kill buyers, some private homes, not many, and then rescues like mine that I operate along with a couple other girls. The horses that are bought by the house are the horses that lose, and those horses are quadraned out into back pens. They're brought up through chutes. They're microchipped for the USDA, and then they're loaded onto semis like this one. And then they take a 22-hour ride down across the border into Mexico, no food, no water, to be put to death by electric shock to the head. This is America's slaughter pipeline. And it's a very dark place, one of those places on the edge of humanity that most people never see. I can only go there sometimes, because every time I go there, I pull too many horses that I don't have staff and I don't have funds to support and to rescue. These are some horses that I did pull by being at that Texas kill auction. You start to meet people. You meet kill buyers and you make relationships. This group, there was a group of 36 horses that myself and another rescue made that contact with that kill buyer, and he said, we're rescuing them from this place, and we want, if you want to buy them, we'll sell them to you for super cheap. So I was like, great, let's save these horses. This group of horses, however, tested positive for a very interesting disease that hasn't been in this country for a very long time. It's called diphtheria. And if anybody knows anything about this disease, it was coined the child killer back before we had some semblance of how to treat it and what to do with it. The interesting thing about this is that horses have not been testing positive for this ever, until just recently. What does that mean? What does that matter? What does that have anything to do with you? Well, hold on. I know it is outrageous. It is. Hold on. So the reason that this diphtheria is showing up, and we've had it tested multiple times, the diphtheria that the horses are showing up with is a human strain diphtheria. These horses can only catch this strain of diphtheria straight from a human. But that doesn't make any sense, right? Horses go into horse trailers, and then they go on the slaughter pipeline, and then how could they? We don't even have diphtheria in this country. But guess where they do have it? You want to come up here and talk? I feel like you want to come up here and talk. Get up here, Bobby. I have a feeling you have a point of view here. No, I know.
I will give you a minute, okay?
I love this. There are no rules here, guys. We do whatever we want. We do whatever we want. That's right. This is now the diphtheria.
Good morning, guys. It's allowed, okay? I'm not going to take too much time, let her finish, but let me just give you guys a brief history, okay? And you're going to ask, why are you watching this? Why does this affect each and every one of you? You live in Las Vegas. There's no horses here, right? 1971, President Richard Nixon signed the Wild Horse and Burros Act. That dedicated 53 million acres of our land to 27,000 horses because the population of horses dwindled from 2 million down to 27,000. Over time, the BLM, Bureau of Land Management, has taken half that land, and now there's 6 million cattle sitting on that land. But let me tell you something, cattle ranchers can donate money, but horses can't. So you know what we did? We took 90,000 horses, that population went from 27,000 to 90,000, and we put 50% of them in prisons. That's it, no plan. We're wasting $300 million a year in taxpayer money. That's your money. That's being wasted housing horses. And then how these horses end up in that slaughter pipeline, they end up in Mexico, and now Those horses right there are being smuggled back into the country with illegal immigrants in those trucks. And those horses are coming right back here with illegal immigrants. So does that affect you? Absolutely it does. And you know what else we found? What did you find recently?
Oh boy. You want to do the next one?
This will affect you.
Horse meat is being sold in this country and cut into beef. Because if you live in a place like Arkansas where I live, you know that beef prices have just skyrocketed. So a cow that used to cost $400 now costs $1,600. Well, guess what happens? Where's the cheap meat? Because that's going to be too expensive to put in our tacos. There's articles right now being written in Mexico because I have contacts down in Mexico because that's what I do in my spare time. I trace the pipeline all the way through Mexico because why not? Because who's doing that? No one. So I have made contacts down in Mexico and they're sending me information saying the Mexican government is now asking for reports because they are testing meat samples and huge amounts of meat samples are coming back cut with horse meat. And this is the reason why this affects you. Because it's not just in Mexico. Right now, these are all the states just recently that we have tested as horse rescues that we are finding horse meat is being cut in beef. This is disgusting. And it's not just because, well, I don't know, maybe horse meat's okay, beef is okay, we eat all the different animals. The reason this is not okay is because those same reports in Mexico detail toxic levels of chemicals that are being inoculated into these horses, because think about it. Those horses that I'm rescuing on that slaughter pipeline, every single horse trader wants to keep that horse standing just so it can get across the border so they can get their money. If that horse is dying and sick, which a lot of them are by the time they get there, they can't get over the border without drugs because they're in so much pain. And that pain medicine that they're using goes directly into that meat. And then that meat gets processed, and then it gets cut into your taco. And you are eating that toxic meat, and I'm sorry to tell you, but toxic meat like this, it gives you cancer. And vegetarian, that's one way, but you know what? A lot of people aren't. A lot of people eat meat, and you're making these tacos for your kids. And these are states we have proof that they are selling this horse meat on the black market. So if they're selling this horse meat on the black market, there are some restaurateurs that just want to feed their family, and they're trying to make their bottom lines. And that is going into your food. So I just wanted to come out here and I wanted to explain to you why this does affect you and why shutting down this slaughter pipeline is an absolute necessity for America. Not just for the humane treatment of these animals and their welfare, but now it's affecting us and our children. So that's in a nutshell why I'm up here and what I wanted to talk about. So I want to show you the dream here. Because this will be our reality.
They say the holy water's watered down, and this town's lost its faith. Our colors will fade eventually, so if our time is running out, day after day, we'll make the Monday our masterpiece. Oh my love, I take a look at you, you're taking me out of the ordinary. I want you laying me down till I'm dead and buried on the edge of your knife, staying drunk on the ride. The angels up in the clouds, I'm just on Monday, a masterpiece. Oh my love, I take a look at you, you're taking me out of the ordinary. I want you laying me down till I'm dead and buried on the edge of your knife, staying drunk on your vibe. The angels up in the clouds, I'm jealous knowing we found something so wild. Look the ordinary, you got me kissing the ground, but you sanctuary. Trying to be what you done, oh Lord, we from me to die. The angels up in the clouds, I'm jealous knowing we found.
See that drone? This is the reason Bobby and I have come together, because Bobby stood on the stage and he says, I'm going to end the roundups. And I text Bobby and I said, well, how are you going to do that, Bobby? You can't ask for a solution without giving them the whole thing. But lucky enough for you, I have the rest of it. I have the end piece. It's the piece that everyone's been missing. It's the piece that every advocate cries out, please stop this awful procedure of roundup. But then what? There's thousands of horses, and if you've run any animal in your life, which I have, every type of animal has to be managed. It's the truth. Right now, fertility control is the only thing that makes sense. We don't have a surplus of dogs and cats because we have spay and neuter. But how do you do that to thousands and thousands of wild horses that run across a range that sometimes only helicopters can reach? I have started a company called Ashva Prasada. It is essentially the very first hospital in the sky. We take an AI mesh network of drones and we can deliver contraception from the sky to wild bands of horses in the wild, humanely, without pressure, without torture, without pushing these babies and families apart, and without all the death. Thank you so much. This is my mission, and I will support Bobby till the end, and this is how we're going to do it. Okay, I'm a professional reader from the mind, right? So I don't usually read off papers, but this guy is so important, I won't mess it up. So I'm gonna get my paper out right here so I can read exactly all of his long list of accolades. This is what they wrote for me to say. This guy is worth standing up for sure. Oh, he gives us a song. Okay, tonight we welcome a fighter, a builder, and a man who has turned the Nevada Republican Party into a waiting machine. From Las Vegas police officer to the youngest city councilman in the history of Nevada. Actually, I think it's the longest history in the whole country, right? That's right. The longest serving chairman of the country who led us to historic victories and now serves as the Western Regional Vice Chair of the Republican National Council. He has never stopped fighting for Nevada and for our future. Please give a tremendous welcome to Chairman Michael J. McDonald. Wow. Even I don't get an intro like that. I mean, I'm going to have to memorize that. They just gave that to me right now, so I'll get off book for that. But guys, he's a big deal, and this has been, what an incredible resume. So thank you for being here, and good luck. I'm a hard act to follow, my friend.
Another round of applause, please. Isn't she wonderful?